Good morning, fellow traders. It's Black Coffee Trader. It is Tuesday morning, May the 6th, and it's time to do our daily trade plan. So let's just dive right in. Starting off on the NASDAQ today, this is the main one. This is the big day, or the big level that we've had for quite some time on the charts here around the 916, 980s. And I think that is an absolute must-hold level today. Probably one of the best long setups as well. If we get it, if we could get a pullback into here, we would be flipping a beautiful break and retest of this level. We've held it. we've actually held this level since we broke it back on the 1st in the pre-market, or actually end of day on the 1st. Yes, no, that was on the 30th. Anyway, we can see that flip. And here's the other thing that's extremely important is this right here. This dark blue, this bright blue line is the daily 50 SMA. That daily 50 is big. Let's take a look at it here on the daily chart. You can see that daily 50 sitting right here. We've crossed over it, and we definitely need to hold above it to continue to hold this market up and for the bulls to stay into play. So that's the thing I'll be looking for the most, is if we do get a pullback into this level, that could be an excellent long if. Here we go with the if then statements. If we lose this area and we lose the 50 SMA. If we lose the daily 50 in this big level here, then we are probably looking for downside, and that sets up some short trades, potentially down into this still unfilled gap from back here in the latter part of April. For right now, I'm not quite sure. Yesterday we did have a kind of a V-shaped move. We did make a lower high. If you look at the big picture here on the NASDAQ, that is a little bit concerning, but we have held above that daily 50. So anyway, that's what we're looking at. Here's the other thing too. On the NASDAQ, there's definitely some opportunity here. This would be the number one trade. The number two trade is probably a long above yesterday's low. Notice how we've had, this yesterday low comes in right around the 985. So here you've got the 985s as resistance, a little bit of support, 985 resistance, flip through it, 985 support, 985 support, 985 resistance in the pre-market here today. So if we get above that and hold, that could set up a, I'm going to call this a cautious long up into these levels. I do not want to be longing up into here. We need to get, if we have a major push up today, we would need to get above the 293s, 290 area for me to really look at a long, a break and retest long above that. So this, I think, is the most, a pullback to here would actually be a very strong bullish move. If we can get a pullback to this major level, beautiful break and retest of this or the 680 area, that would be an excellent trade. This one here, this would be trade number 2. Trade number 3 is really, if we can get a hold above these lows, right in here coming in around the 6 or the 865s. If we can get a break and retest hold above that, that would also set up pretty good long. So there's like 3 different long trades that I'd be looking for today in this area. Long off the, you could call it the 700s, long off the 990s, 20,000s, if you will, yesterday's low, so to speak, and then also this low coming in around the 864. So pretty clear on the NASDAQ, that's what we'd be looking for, but we do need to be careful. I think definitely want to be careful. I want to make sure we have good confirmation on those setups, and obviously looking for downside if we lose this daily 50. I think that's a big one. Flipping to the ES. ES, interesting levels as well. The number one trade there also is that pullback. The interesting thing is on ES, you have this same area. Look at how we have this high coming in. So the NQ 680s are synonymous with the ES 5600, we'll call it. This is a pretty clean break and retest, and the only thing that gives me concern, and the reason I made this a red X area, where that's basically an area I don't want to take a trade, is the 50 SMA. If we break the 50 SMA and we break below the 5600s, that could then set up a nice short for further downside. So while this would be an excellent long, in a sense, that would be a really clear long is a break and retest of this 5600. I am cautious because of the daily 50. I mark this as a no trade zone, and the only way I would take this trade long is if we had significant buying going on the NQ and the ES, have very good hold where we can see this market pushing. Ultimately, I think the better one would be to wait until we stay above, like we are now, really. We're above this daily 50, potentially set up a long trade there. I almost should make this entire area like the cautious zone. I'm not sure that I should keep this trade in here, right here. This entire area really should kind of be the cautious area. Something more like this. I'm a little bit hesitant because I may take this if it sets up, but something like this might be a little bit smarter and just take these setups if they occur, if it's very clean and we get confirmation across both NQ, ES, and possibly even the Dow. I may just do this. I'm probably going to just do this. I'm going to leave this. We're going to be very careful about it. We may take a long setup here if we get very good clarity on it. This would be a really nice long trade as well, going above yesterday's low. This is also very similar to where it was on the NQ. Yesterday's low comes in right around the 56.55s. Here you have 56.55 resistance. You have it turned into a little bit of support, resistance again, and then quite a bit of support here. So if we could flip above that, that would be a good, again, a cautious long up into this level. We made a lower high, big picture here on the ES. If we break above the 56.23s and we see a nice hold, then we would be looking to take longs up into the further upside areas. So that's the game plan here. We need to be careful about this area, but there definitely is some opportunity for some trade setups off some of these levels if we get really good confirmation. There's the plan on ES. Moving to gold. Gold has finally broken out of this area right here. This was an area that I had marked for quite some time. I did adjust some of these levels here this morning. Basically kind of created two little zones. We have a zone here with this high coming in from mid-April or early part of April. Right in here, this is a pretty clear key level right here, pretty technical or pretty key support area around the 3277s, and also this could really set up a beautiful long if we get a nice break and retest above kind of this zone right here from the 3376s to the 3365s. So if we get that today, we'll definitely be looking at that. We had quite a move in the aftermarket last night, and then we've just kind of failed right here at the 3395. So potentially, I looked at that about maybe putting a level here, but I think we're going to stick to the big picture, which is kind of these lows coming in here, turning into basically support, resistance. So you see the 3376s as support, resistance. If we flip that, and it looks like it might be happening right now, if that waits for us and sets up here around the market open, this range right here could set up a nice long trade, pushing us higher. So we'll be looking at that. Again, I'm not overly aggressive on gold. We really need to have a clear setup and be above these major levels, these major market levels before I'm looking to take those trades. But there have been some really nice moves on gold. If we get a pullback down into this area, that would be setting up a long trade there. And if we fall all the way down here below the 3200s, then obviously we're looking to take this thing short. So moving to the Dow Jones. This one's interesting. This is the big market push day. This is that big level, the 41,100s. And the caution that I have on the Dow, as bullish as it has been, and yesterday we actually made a higher high, which is a bullish trend. If you remember what we just talked about on the NQ and the ES, we made lower highs yesterday. On the Dow Jones, we actually made higher highs, just a little bit, but we did make higher highs. However, this blue line is the 50 SMA. So the daily 50 is sitting above price right now, whereas on NQ and on ES, the daily 50 is sitting below price where we stand right now at, and I forgot to put up my clock. I apologize. Sorry about that. The clock, so time now is 7:40 a.m. But anyway, so this gives me quite a bit of caution, although it really could set up a very, very, very good trade. So here's the if then statement for the Dow Jones. If we break above the daily 50 and hold above yesterday's high, then we look at taking a long trade up into some of these areas, and that could really set up a pretty nice trade. If we stay below and we lose this big area, from, I think some people are calling this day Liberation Day. I'm not sure. Anyway, the big market push day is what I call it. If we fail below that and kind of below the market lows from the overnight session, we could be looking to take some short trades into some of these areas down here. There's a big area here that you could definitely take some nice trades on. And again, I think the thesis, the game plan is what we just talked about here on the Dow Jones. However, I want to have confirmation with NQ and ES before taking these trades. So in other words, I'm not looking to short this if it sets up, if we don't have some downside selling pressure on the NASDAQ or ES. Likewise, if we do get a long trade here, the NQ and ES better have some buying power, or we're not going to take that trade. So anyway, that's kind of I really, really like a long. If we can get a push up and we can break and hold above the daily 50 on the Dow, then we really have something, I think, to the upside. So, and the other thing too is then you'd have Dow Jones, NQ, and ES all above that daily 50, and that could be a pretty good setup. So I think the most clear thing for me really is the NASDAQ. I'm really interested in this, a pullback, or really these three trade setups that I've got looking for. If those three develop, we'll take those for long trades, and hopefully ride those. And there's some nice moves. I mean, this is, from the 865s to the almost the 20,000. So, about 150 points. That's a big move. There's some nice moves here available potentially on the NASDAQ that we can capitalize on and continue to move the chains, so to speak. So anyway, I think we will leave it with that. That's the game plan for today. So let's keep our head on straight and be careful, trade well, and execute our game plan. And hopefully we put some profits on the table today. So good luck out there. Have a good trading day today. And until next time, take care and so long.